Hi, this video is brought to you by me. I've made a new channel for my Destiny streams. It's called Datto Streams Destiny. Very original name. All my streams going forward are going to be archived here on YouTube. So instead of just disappearing after 2 months of being on Twitch, they're going to be archived here forever on YouTube. So if you need to watch more of me for whatever reason, I'm not sure why you would, but if you want to watch more of me, check the link in the description to be brought over to that channel. All my streams are going to be uploaded immediately after a stream ends, maybe give it a couple of hours, and everything's going to be completely unedited. You can, of course, just like watch me live, twitch.tv/Datto, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But everything's going to be archived here on YouTube going forward. So just check out that channel, and, you got it. You're smart. All right, thanks. Season 16, Season of the Risen, coming to a close here very soon. How did we do? What happened? Story-wise, a bit more abbreviated than we've been used to. Only 4 weeks of storytelling, but as Bungie has done for the past few seasons now, the story and storytelling has been great and is one of the main reasons I look forward to Reset on a weekly basis. The story technically starts with the first Witch Queen mission, where Keitel gets mad that you killed some dudes on Mars because they attacked you. Both parties agree to team up against the Lucent Brood instead, as they are the much more threatening thing that's happening in the world. The seasonal artifact is a piece of light-suppressing tech that you use on Hive lieutenants to capture them in order to read their minds to get more intel on the Lucent Brood and the Hive's plans. Shockingly enough, they're harvesting Guardians. Well, they're harvesting light, and they plan on using this light to reclaim the Scarlet Keep and summon Savathun's throne world to it. Zavala wants Saladin to mentor Crow during this mind-stealing process as the two get more character development over the course of the season. But Crow was all like, I'm uncomfortable with this, and accidentally killed one of Keitel's scions who was performing this mind-reading sequence when he went to go turn off one of the machines. Him and Saladin were butting heads back and forth over the procedure a lot over the course of the season, with Saladin claiming it as a necessary thing to stop even more people from getting hurt, as spoken about in a Saladin Dark Age cutscene. Keitel is big mad as a result, but when Keitel asked for Crow's life, Saladin instead put himself in Crow's place and ended up joining Keitel's war council, now known as Brachus Forge, rapidly getting promoted to Valis shortly after. Saladin stepped in because he thought Zavala was going to do something really, really dumb right before Saladin ended up stepping in. Character development. As a result of all this, Zavala ends up shutting down Operation Take a Look at Hive Brains as we push into whatever the events of Season 17 will end up being. Story was good. Further trying to build Crow's identity, we had some character development with Saladin, quote-unquote, sacrificing himself to save Crow's life. Keitel is becoming a part of the quote-unquote team, so to speak. I don't really feel like I need to comment too much on the overall storyline at this point. I have nothing to offer as far as the overall story goes because it's cohesive now. That was my one criticism, was like, where are we going? We now have a direction we're going in, and I want to see where we land after all of this happens, especially after the reveal of the Witness and the big twist in the Witch Queen. Bungie has been on a roll for over a year now. They probably have every future season's storyline ready to go for the next 2 years. They just got to keep it rolling. That's it. If you want more in-depth conversation about specific story beats and characters, there are plenty of other channels for that. But if you're a more casual player of the game, I'm guessing you're probably pretty happy with Bungie's execution of story in Destiny as of late. You might have gripes with the characters themselves and the choices Bungie makes for these characters, but I hope at the very least we can both agree that the story stuff Bungie is dropping is some of the more compelling stuff that they have ever made for the franchise. Void 3.0 launched during the season, and I think has mostly been a success, at least on the PvE side of the game, although I do feel like some tuning is needed for underused aspects. My Titan has been glued to the same 2 for basically the entire season, and I don't really want to change anything. The seasonal artifact had many mods dedicated to enhancing void-based keywords, namely suppression effects, but volatile rounds definitely had a lot of popularity. Void 3.0 did create some PvP woes though, which Bungie has tried to address with a small set of nerfs to the most egregious of abilities. How Void will hold up after this season ends though is a bit of a mystery, as some of the experience is bolstered by having these seasonal mods. For example, there will only be one very specific way to proc volatile rounds without volatile flow, the seasonal meta mod for season 16. With everyone distracted by Solar and Arc 3.0, whatever comes next, I'm not sure how much attention Void is really going to get from both Bungie and the community. Glaives were more of a Witch Queen thing, but considering all the mods that they got in the seasonal artifact, I'll give a quick recap of how I'm feeling about Glaives. They're okay. They're a weapon archetype that I don't think many people are going to give much attention to after this season when all of the Glaive mods go away. The exotics are definitely a bit better after their buff, but outside of the Hunter Glaive, I just don't think I'm super interested in picking one up. I don't think they need dramatic buffs though. They feel like sidearms almost, where it's like a sidearm's a sidearm. There's only so much you can do to a sidearm to make people want to use a sidearm. Glaives kind of feel the same way. Seasonal content consisted of the PsyOps Battlegrounds, a 3-player match-made activity. As far as seasonal content goes, I thought these were pretty good, in the upper tier of 3-player content. The Spear added a little bit of variety in what has typically been a race to kill as many things as possible in order to have the most fun, and I suspect that we will see relic-type weapons in seasonal content during this year as a way of shaking things up when it comes to these seasonal activities. Enemy density was pretty darn good in these activities, at least in the final room. Plenty of stuff for people to kill, although it could actually be a little distracting at times. I wanted to kill all of the things, but that was usually at the cost of progressing the actual objective in the activity. Again, that's mostly related to the final boss of the activity though. The 7x3 grid of upgrades disappeared, and instead we got a 5x2 grid instead, so still sticking with the upgrades, but dramatically reduced, over 50% reduction. But it still took weeks to unlock all of the upgrades, so The upgrades didn't really affect your experience too much. You could tap into the upgrades that you thought would help you the most, depending on how you play the game, which I think is fine. Loot acquisition was also kept very simplistic, much like Season 15, not requiring much more than simply playing Battlegrounds and then using the currency that you got from it to focus Umbral Engrams. Although, unlike Season 15, the weapons were quite good. In fact, I would say that literally every weapon that was offered this season is a good weapon. Maybe save for the machine gun, but I just like it because I like weapons that can roll with headstone. If it couldn't roll with headstone, then yeah, not the greatest thing in the world. But with the upcoming machine gun buff, who knows? Explosive personality is great, Under Your Skin is fine, Sweet Sorrow is good, Thoughtless is great as far as snipers can be great in the current PvE world, and Peace of Mind is a great pulse rifle. Well done all around on these weapons. Vox Obscura was a nice little vehicle and combat challenge as far as exotic missions go, but I think some people were maybe slightly underwhelmed as it ended up being a mostly combat-based sequence when recently we've gotten a mix of combat and exploration and mystery and all those kinds of things. I would say it was a pretty standard affair as far as Destiny missions go. I think I like Shattered Realm a little bit more because it was a bit more mysterious, or Expunge for a mix of mechanics and platforming and shooting. But Vox feels like something I might want to play again a little bit more versus something like Shattered Realm after I had collected everything in Shattered Realm. Like, I didn't want to go back. It was definitely fun to go back to the original Mars for a little bit as well, but I don't think this mission pushed the envelope in any way when it came to gameplay, although the dialogue with Keitel was pretty neat to listen to. And it also feels like it's been a little bit since we've played around with vehicles, so that was kind of fun. Dead Messenger was the exotic weapon earned from this, which is basically Hardlight if it was a wave frame grenade launcher. I think it gets a bit more attention in PvP right now due to the 3 waves of damage that it does, as opposed to just the one straightforward. It does one to the left, one middle, one right, covering a very big area, making it very easy to hit your opponents. Otherwise, I don't think it is too remarkable, but it is definitely one of the best multi-element weapons in the game, and I'm sure it'll have its time to shine at some point. Speaking of exotics, the seasonal exotic was Grand Overture, a machine gun, almost linear fusion, almost rocket launcher hybrid kind of deal, where every hit with the weapon charges a missile, and then you can hold reload to prime all of the missiles and fire them all at once. This exotic was pretty quickly nerfed early in the season to not allow firing all 20 missiles at once, and then it was quickly buffed to allow for at least full auto of firing bursts of 5 missiles at a time, so you just hold it down and go 5 and then 5 and 5 instead of just all 20. Regardless of what this weapon has been through, I have not seen a single person use this gun outside of the very beginning of the season just to mess around with it, pre-nerf. That being said, I hope you got the catalyst for this weapon completed, as in Season 17, all machine guns are getting a 40% damage buff in PvE, although Xeno and this gun will not receive the 20% boss damage buff that all of the others will be receiving. Machine guns are going to be very interesting in Season 17 as a result, after being mostly irrelevant for the past few months, if not year, if not maybe even years. I think people didn't latch onto this weapon because, one, it got nerfed pretty early. Number two, this season was all about Void. Number three, it's not a normal machine gun, so people maybe didn't want to try to figure out the weapon and instead opted for something simpler. And number four, it's a machine gun, and they're just not very good right now. None of this is accounting for any damage-related reasons, but if this was a very powerful DPS weapon, I think someone would have posted something by now. If Grand Overture was unremarkable, I don't even know what to call Reckless Endangerment, which is the ritual weapon for this season, other than an introductionary shotgun. With shotguns being as dominant as they've been for as long as they have been, I don't think anyone outside of brand new players doesn't have a good shotgun for PvP. It's not a bad gun at all. I don't want to make it seem like it's absolutely terrible or anything, but it's just generally not a weapon I see out in the wild because shotguns are not really used that much in PvE. And again, if you're playing PvP, you probably have a decent shotgun after years and years of playing. That being said, it is within the parameters of what Bungie wants from these kinds of weapons, these seasonal ritual weapons. It's a good gun, but you can find a better one by hunting one down yourself. We also had Guardian Games, which was probably the best version of the event that we've had thus far in the 3 years that it's been running, with thousands of people betraying the class that they probably mainly play in favor for giving Warlocks a pity win since they were the only team to have not won yet. No, you're mad about it. But also, I never have really felt like things have been close in Guardian Games when it comes to the main competition of Guardian Games, which feels a little bad. I would like there to be a bit more tension there, but that's not something Bungie can really control. Strike scoring and medals made a return from Destiny 1, finally, and while there was plenty of cheese to go around, Bungie did what they could to try to balance the situation in the middle of it happening, since there was an emblem at stake that depended on your performance. I would really like to see strike scoring placed into the game in some way where we could have a competitive PvE experience. But I would only want it if Bungie was going to be able to give it the attention I think it needs for it to be successful. Which feels like mainly not letting scoring get completely abused to lose all meaning behind going for high scores. That's not something I anticipate happening, but yeah, I can dream, I guess. Overall, I would put the season squarely in the middle of the pack. It fit the mold for how I imagine an average season is going to turn out in Destiny. It hit all of a season's usual points. I don't think it really failed in any way, but I don't think it went above and beyond either. Seasons that are linked with expansions tend to be not as strong as others due to the expansion taking a lot of the spotlight. But if we were to compare this season to other seasons that launched alongside expansions, so Undying and Hunt, I would definitely put this above those two. So that's something, right? This season simultaneously both had a lot of things going on and also not that much going on. Only 4 weeks of story-based progression, but it felt like Bungie had something for people to do every week. By the time the story stuff wrapped, GM Nightfalls were launching, then you had Master Raid challenges, Guardian Games, Iron Banners filling in any gaps, or easy GM Nightfall weeks letting people easily farm items or materials, not to mention having to level up more than the 10 normal levels we usually get. Plus you got weapon crafting, so everyone's leveling up weapons and all that. So Bungie was pretty good at making sure we had something to do on any given week. But as the expansion now goes on the back burner, the future seasons are going to need to hold their own. I think Bungie will be able to continue to crank out the kind of seasonal content we've come to expect, your pretty average standard affair. But with those expectations also comes the potential of stagnation, or the feeling of knowing what's already going to be happening outside of the story. We know we're getting some sort of activity, more weapons, armor set, etc., etc. And that's not to say that the quality isn't there. Again, I don't think any of the upcoming seasons are going to be terrible, especially based on the last 4. I think they've all been pretty good. But what the goal should be is to find ways to make them above average, to spice things up as much as possible. What that entails, fortunately not my job. My job is telling you if I think Bungie did their jobs well. This season, I think they did. I think they did fine. But stagnation is what I'm worried about. As for the complete lack of Season 17 reveals, we know nothing about the season, we know nothing about Solar or Arc 3.0, I'm pretty fine with it. In the not-so-good times in 2020, I think most people would have taken this as Bungie trying to hide something with malice, like, oh, Bungie knows the season's not going to be that good, so they're hiding it. But now that things have been stable for a while, I'm very okay with being completely surprised. Bungie has built some goodwill with the community. I don't think there's anything malicious behind any of this at all. It's fun to not know what's going to happen next before it's revealed. It's fun being surprised. Imagine learning that Cade died as you played Forsaken for the first time, instead of finding out 3 months beforehand. That would have been wild. So yeah, I'm totally fine with it. I think it's neat if Bungie wants to keep things close to the chest every once in a while to surprise us. No problem. That's your recap. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in Season 17.